Hey, good morning. Just getting all the bits together. You can hear me. Awesome. So let's get started here. Okay. So good morning, everybody. Really intense, energetic times the last little while. I've been looking at fear inside myself, and most people would call it anxiety, and I'd say they're probably basically the same thing. But anxiety is something I've suffered with for a very long time in my life. Most people wouldn't know it. Other members of my family have the same anxiety, and what we're going to learn here in a few minutes is how that kind of affects us and how that comes down our lineage. But anxiety is like a tightness in the body. It's like a fear of a whole bunch of variables. Let's talk about some of them. So some of the variables are related to, pardon me, sorry, my throat's a little bit crazy this morning. Pleasing people, getting taught that you must please people and keep them happy, and then finding the people that you please blow up like bombshells sometimes, and they created these traumas inside you where people yell and scream at you and you instantly are like this, or even you hear it happening around. If you hear other children crying or other stuff from younger, you instantly feel unsafe. A lot of this goes back to not having safety from the beginning. If parents had their own trauma and they were dealing with their own shit and they couldn't feel safe for themselves, do you think they felt safe for you? What I'm starting to get fully aware of is that anxiety comes from our lineage a lot of times. A lot of it comes from our programming of parents. And I'm not saying any parent's bad. It honestly, almost most of the time, they picked it up from their parents, and it's this big thing that turned into this massive snowball. And you've got all these things you're afraid of and trying to please. Here's an example. Do you feel uncomfortable around police or soldiers? Do you feel uncomfortable around government or your tax organization for your country? Do you feel just uncomfortable that you got to please them somehow, but they're impossible to please, or that they're going to just come out and hurt you or kill you or take you away to prison? Those are all lineage traumas. Those are past life wounds. They're shadows. They're things that are sitting in our energy that we're not fully conscious aware of, but we have a visceral reaction in our body. So the root of how I feel anxiety in my body is never feeling relaxed. I used to walk most of my life with my ass cheeks clenched all the time, and I didn't know why that was. But that's a trauma. That's waiting for something bad to happen, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for somebody to smash into you or hurt you or kill you or whatever, because these are all things that you've had in your past, or they could have been in your parents' past. And anxiety, well, let's look at the body first. Okay, so the body is basically made up of all these tissues, muscles, fibers. There's a web underneath everything that kind of holds it all together called our myofascia. And then underneath all that, so we've got muscles like our deltoids and the ones that move our face and tongue and ribs and make our lungs move and everything like that. And then underneath that, we have a nervous system. So basically, it's the spine that goes up and down from our brain all the way down to our lower body. It has all the key little nerves and all the electrical connections to make all the muscles move and things happen. And then inside of all of that, and as a system, we have our nervous system. So nervous system is basically the spine mixed with your muscles, mixed with your thoughts, mixed with all these kind of things. And then we also have a level of the nervous system that we're not aware of, parasympathetic nervous system. We also have parts of our nervous system that make our lungs breathe for us without us having to be consciously aware of it, making our heart beat, making all our organs do all their beautiful functions. And then it's all tied together with this brain and our heart and all those pieces. Now the system is a really beautifully fine-tuned system. It also has beautiful things in it that keep us in protecting ourselves, right? So, oh, the lion just came into the tent and you're going to react. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to throw yourself on the lion, or are you going to run away or scream or yell or hit it with a stick or kill it with a sword or whatever? These have all happened through our genetic lineage, and we grew them. People will talk about our reptilian brain and all these levels of our brain that basically come together to give us all this nervous system functions. Things like you throw a baby in the water and the baby has a mammalian dive response. Have you ever jumped in cold water and you just like, I can't breathe, because your whole system is designed to shut down, close off your airways, and protect you from drowning. Well, babies that are like not even a month out of the womb or whatever, their parents do this. I've seen the videos. They toss them in the water and the baby has a natural response to try and protect itself. So it'll swim a little bit. It'll try and get its head up and other things. These weren't taught. These were part of their system that was there. So our nervous system is doing all these beautiful, glorious things for us to try and protect us, to get us in safety, to do all these things based on the lineage stuff that we have, the stuff that came through our genetics, the stuff that was programmed into us. So, and this is really good evidence right here and right now that those things that I've told you, they're built into us, whether we like it or not. We didn't have a choice of whether or not we had this response, because it was built into our system to keep us protected. So now, tune into 40 years old, 50 years old, whatever your age is, and you're a byproduct of all the things that happen to you, your traumas, your anger, your frustration, everything your parents taught you, all your programming from your ex, your spouse, your kids, your business, your boss, your whatever. And all these things have programmed you. And how many times, let's say you've had a car accident. How many people have whiplash and other things from a car accident? Well, these are energetic responses to things that came out of the blue and hit us, and our muscles weren't ready and our body wasn't braced, and then our neck is hurt. So we bruise the stuff here. But we also, a lot of whiplash is this constant tension, just afraid that something bad's going to happen. All programmed because somebody hit you from behind, you couldn't plan for it, whatever, and your body doesn't feel safe anymore. So now let's take some other ones. So now all of a sudden, let's say your now ex cheated on you and you felt really betrayed and really angry and not safe, and you lost all your love and all this kind of stuff in that instant that you chose that, okay, this person cheated on me and I'm hurt. Guess what? Those things stay in our body, and they'll probably, unless you're aware of them, start to be in your body all the time for the rest of your life. You'll walk around with it, well, like a whiplash injury. A lot of people never really work through the energy or the trauma of the incident. So they're like crippled and they're saying that my neck is all damaged and that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's physical damage, but our body can heal from anything. So if we keep that in there, we're going to walk around with it. Now, the most insidious level of this, and I want people to just be aware of it, just sit here with your body for a second and just feel it. Is it really relaxed? Are you breathing? Like right now, I can feel it. My chest is kind of contracted and I'm only sipping air into the top of my lungs. How often does that happen to you? And you're just constantly doing it. And guess what? We get so trained into feeling this state of fight or flight or whatever, we start only breathing enough air into our lungs that we're not feeling the panic of being suffocated, but we're just above it. So really most North Americans, and this is a fact, you can go dig it up, we only breathe about 1/3 of our lungs. So we're breathing to about here, when you should really be going, and then letting it go in and expand and then go, just try that a couple times. Breathe right in, right into your genitals. You're the lowest down you can go, and then take one more sip. Just sit there with a sec, and then how different is that? How does it feel in your chest? Does it feel like almost pleasurable, like almost crunchy sometimes to open it? Well, guess what? you have a parasympathetic nervous system that's waiting for fight or flight. And we've been programmed into it our entire life from our parents. Can you imagine you're about to touch something beautiful and you're like 1 year old on the counter and you want to touch it, and all of a sudden a parent comes behind you and gives you the hardest swat in the bum that they can, and it says, no, you're an innocent little child, all of a sudden attacked viciously, and the parent thinks, oh, they're protecting you by giving you these rules and protections not to touch something on the shelf. But you as a being got terrified. All of a sudden you got swacked on the bum and your bum hurts and now you're crying and all this kind of stuff, and you have no conscious awareness of what you've done. But the parent was taught by their parent that you only hit a child to negatively reinforce that they shouldn't do something. And then how does that go into your life for the rest of your life? Because I grew up in the generation, and most people grew up in this generation, where parents hit and they spank their bum. Now it's not okay. And now it's not okay to make your kids cry. And there's all this stuff that's going on. But it was a lineage thing. It was like my grandparents got hit with a ruler. They got hit with a belt or whatever. Thankfully, that didn't happen to me. But yeah, the teachers were allowed to do that to you in school at some points if they were not thinking you were good. Look at all these little things that are sitting in there. Now, the parasympathetic nervous system is our deepest level of nervous system. It's basically underneath things, and it has control of interesting little function. When does your heart start racing? How does your heart start racing? Can you be just sitting there and all of a sudden your heart start racing and you don't know why, and this energy is coming up and you're just like, ah! I feel that quite often. When the energies get really strong like they are now, right now, these waves, Jason Estes talks about we're going to 2,600 points per second or whatever, and we're moving for 4,100. As that new light comes in, as all that new energy comes in, my body feels like it's being attacked sometimes. It's just like, what's going on? And then my nervous system is just like, I'm almost in convulsions trying to deal with this energy. And it's not because it's bad or whatever, but my nervous system hasn't taken in this level of light, this level of new energy. And it's literally, my whole system is crunched in like this, and it's saying, open, open, open. And opening, your higher self, your soul, all this process that's going on, when you don't listen and you don't allow and all that kind of stuff, it'll smash you wide open. It'll hit you with a sledgehammer of energetic intention and debilitate you to the point. Even people will have heart attacks. People will have all these chronic medical conditions that come up. I've seen people that are really strong light workers getting COVID and just getting smashed by it for a month, and they can hardly live or move. These are all signs saying, holy shit, slow down, stop racing, stop trying to please, stop all these things. And then guess what? If you're living in fear, you're going to get, and one of your fears is money issues, you're going to get huge money issues. You're going to run out of money. You're going to get down to the bottom of it and have to look with it and sit with it and sit there and say, oh, this is not fun. But you got programmed with these beliefs. And the only way out of them is to start to see them, to see how they affect your life, see how they're affecting your body, see the pain and suffering and discomfort that you're sitting with every single day, and you're not even consciously aware of it. That's anxiety. It's sitting there. It's like, oh, there's a trauma. I'm scared I'm going to get raped. I'm scared I'm going to get whatever again, because you've had the experience already. And then you took this bubble and said, oh, this isn't going to ever happen again. So you contorted your whole world and you added all these rules and said, I'm not going to go in a position where that could possibly happen. By the way, hi, Kathy. Thank you for joining. So we sit in this pool of all these traumas, all these bad things that happen, car accidents that happen, parents hitting us, stuff that happened with our ex, people in public that are violent or whatever. And we just go walk around, and then we have this experience, and then we're like scared, and it stays with us. It's like you go home afterwards and it's like, okay, I got to be safe now. And I can't go out in public, or I can't drive my car, or I can't whatever. And this fear stays with us. And then on the outside level, it builds up as things like body weight. We actually armor ourselves by putting fat in our body. If we had a relationship trauma, want to make ourselves ugly or feel unworthy or feel ugly, we will gain weight. to basically ensure through a physical response, ensure what I'm feeling inside. Oh, I'm ugly. Oh, I'm not deserving. Oh, I'm not sexual enough. Or I'm not pretty, or whatever. But if our body's in homeostasis, which means balance, it's kind of like you've kind of let all the waves go and you can sit there, then those things don't happen. Your body processes food faster. It doesn't shut things down. It doesn't have all these cortisols and other things in our body that are part of stress response, fear, flight or flight. So when you start feeling anxiety come up, it's new awareness. What's going on? Oh, my body doesn't feel safe. Are you having a communication with your body? Why is your body contorting to tell you there's something wrong with your brain, what you've done, how you've locked yourself off from the world, and it's going to keep screaming, and eventually it turns into disease, dis-ease. So your body's like, oh, geez, well, I got to kill myself because I can't live in this world anymore because you haven't dealt with the traumas and the shit that's going on. So your body will create cancers. I read this beautiful thing. It's on my timeline a while back, but it says that a cancer is actually a physiological response to protect your body. It's trying to do these things. If you have problems breathing and this kind of stuff, that those toxins will build up, and then all of a sudden you'll get lung cancer. It'll kind of like create more surface area so that you can get more air by making all the tissue go out of control. And that's what cancer is. It's like, okay, it's creating more surface area, but medicine and other things see these as bad because there's something out of control, but it'll treat the result, not treat the mechanism that caused it. So parasympathetic nervous system, it connects to something called myofascia. Remember I said you're feeling like you can't breathe all the time, or your arms are tight, or your tongue's up against the roof of your mouth. It's what I'd call our trauma muscles. So think of that web that's all throughout your body. That's what myofascia is. It's like a spider web between all your muscles and all your tissues. What if when you're afraid, it turns on? So just sit there and just make pressure in your chest. Like, don't move your arm muscles and stuff, but just contract yourself. And you're going to feel it. You're going to feel inside that you're like, I don't know, those like web bags where it's like a net or whatever that some food comes in, and then you put it around something and you tighten it right down. It's like this web that's pulling you down and harnessing you, but it's not physically seeable. It's not like, oh, my muscles contorted and I feel it. No, it's just this tightness in your chest and this kind of I'm hugging myself from internal, but literally you're making it hard to breathe. You're increasing your blood pressure. You're increasing all these things. Look at my cheeks. They start to get red when I start to press that kind of stuff because it's pushing blood flow around in my body. And I'm not in communication with my body. So anxiety is sitting there showing up, and your body's feeling it and being the victim of it, I guess, because your brain's not consciously aware of it and saying, wake up, there's something going on. I've got something in my right hip. Been going on for 20 years now. And I go and look at it and I clean it and I work at the trauma and all this kind of stuff. But there's some deep down trauma that I can't see that I haven't been able to release yet. So my hip's tight all the time. It shifts my whole body. It makes me have back problems. It makes me have other things because I always lead with my right hip. Weird. But now I'm consciously aware of it. I'll sit with it in bed and I'll breathe and I'll say, okay, what's going on in my hip? Why do I feel tense right now? Why do I not feel safe in the world right now? And then you can go back and you can, okay, I can hear money and I can hear being loved and I can hear all these things. So sit inside, sit with that part of you. And why are you anxious? Anxious is like, I want to get out of here right now. I want to leave this body and escape, and I want to feel better. And I can't stay in this body. And I'm going to tell you, the human experience, you're guaranteed to have traumas. You're guaranteed to have all this shit going on in your body because it's part of the human 3D experience. And you couldn't have had one unless you had all this stuff. So if you think you don't have any or you don't whatever, you're good at hiding it. Because I don't think I've met any person that's so calm, unless they've done massive amounts of work and they can get into this calm space and feel better. And the first thing that we got to deal with is our mind. What's going on in our mind? Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, I gotta go and help please this guy. I gotta be to the store. I gotta get groceries to the kids. I gotta take them to soccer practice. I gotta. Do you think that's a brain that's listening to your body? There's anxiety right there. There's like trying to chase, trying to please, trying to fit all the systems, and eventually you'll get in the places where you don't want to fit some of the systems, and you're starting to make choices for you, and then new anxieties are coming up. It's like, oh, I can't work for somebody that's wants to be me to be their slave or whatever, and then you're like, oh, I don't have any money, and now all my money fears are coming up, and then I'm gonna die any second, and blah 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 blah. Well, we're in North America. I don't know what it is in other places. When you fall through the cracks, yeah, you end up in homeless shelters and living under a bridge and all this kind of stuff. And yes, some die, some whatever, but the systems a lot of times pick those people up, but it smashes them again. It makes it even worse to whatever. So we end up in this fear, like there's nobody to catch me. There's nobody to hold me. Oh, I can't trust my family. I can't trust my parents. I can't trust my ex. I can't trust my business. I can't trust whatever. A good example, I worked for a massive company, Nortel Networks, and it went bankrupt out from under me. Lost my pension, lost all these things that guaranteed my safety for the rest of my life. Poof, because somebody wanted to make some money out of it. You think that traumatized you? Well, you wouldn't say it. It's like, oh, well, gotta get up and dust myself off. Well, now these systems that were safe. And in my 51 years, I've seen those systems instrumentally just destroyed. Any company, there's hardly any companies that'll give you a pension now. Oh, now you're in contract and now your social security isn't even worth anything. We end up living in a system that's not really supporting us, and then we're afraid. It's like, oh, I got to make some money for retirement. Oh, I got to get it invested. And shit, I invested 25 years, probably put $400,000 in there and zero return. I should be in my 50s. I should be like couple million in my investments. No. Credit crisis, all this kind of shit, all just fucking destroys us. We didn't even have a chance, didn't have a choice. The whole world is trying to destroy our safety, our comfort. They're destroying the middle class. There are all these things. So what I'm trying to say here is to get you aware of these feelings that are anxiety. And that choking, that whatever is your myofascia inside your body, trying to tell you it's shutting down, trying to hug you, trying to close you off to protect you so that the next car accident or whiplash or whatever doesn't hurt as bad. But then your body aches and you suffer and you feel not yourself and that you don't have a choice in the world. And it's slowly hurting us. But you're not consciously aware of it. So the biggest first step is to become consciously aware. To say, what's going on in my body? Start asking it questions, create a relationship with our body. And then we're going to start, I'm going to talk a little more in the next video, probably either this afternoon or tomorrow, about mechanisms we can use to move through it. How do we talk to our body? How do we breathe? How do we feed it? How do water, electrolytes, getting some salts in our body, using Epsom salts, doing other things so that we can start to deal with the energy, and it's not going to crush our system. It's not going to make this psyche destroying event. And then we'll be aware. Then we're like, okay, body, what's going on? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm scared about money. I'm scared about this. And then it's like starting to understand that we're gods, starting to understand that we were creators. The only way to get us to give up our connection to God and our godliness and our creation power was to put us in fear. And it's amazing. Thank you, Haiti. Namaste as well, and sending you peace, love, and light. But that's how they crush us. That's how they make us sheep. That's how they make us small, is to make us afraid. And there's ways out of it. And just to calm the mind down so that you can just be in peace and start to feel is the key first mechanism. So how do we calm our mind down? Well, meditation. I love to talk about sacred sexuality, using your own pleasure and an orgasm for yourself to get into a meditative state so that you can calm your body down. You can even use that orgasmic energy to start to push these things through your body and to expand, fill your light body with stuff. All of a sudden your myofascia, when I fill my light body with orgasmic energy, I can just feel my chest cracking and popping as all those myofascia get a stretch. And those, knowing that stretched position versus this, we think it's always this, and we're just like, why is my body hurting? Why does it just have this intense kind of burning pain? Well, your myofascia has been turned on your whole entire life. Working with women and their yonis, you find women's cervix that are like this. They're like a bone. It's like there should be a lack of blood supply in this because they're in fear. They've been raped. They've been traumatized. They had intergenerational trauma from their families, and they don't want to create anymore in this world. They don't want to create children in this world because that trauma, that anxiety is in their body. These are all symptoms. We can talk about tons of different stuff. I don't know, like headaches, body pain. Are your cheeks always flushed? Do you have high blood pressure? Do you have all these things? These are all symptoms that your body's screaming at you to listen. So in my next video, we're going to have a chat about how to work through anxiety. This is what it is. And I'm going on a little longer than I usually do, but I think this is a really, really important thing. And Kathy says, I used to be that way, and I talk to my body daily now. And once you get that conversation going, your body starts to love you. It starts to trust you. It's like your inner child. We do inner child work. Well, at the same time, we got to do inner body work. We got to communicate with our body. We got to have self-mastery, understand why our body's saying things, why our body's reacting, and then magic happens. So I'm going to talk about some of that stuff, but just sit with it. Do you feel that you have anxiety? Where's the anxiety coming from? Does it terrify you? Is it something you don't want to look at? And we're going to talk about that. This is terrifying. There's a post that helped me kind of build into this from a gentleman named Jamie Rhea. It should be a couple down below this one. And he has a beautiful description of trauma and how scary it is and how it'll terrify you. And it's these things that are stuck inside your body that feel like darkness and other things, but it's all just terrified little parts of yourself. So let's go in, let's go look, let's get this sorted out so that we can be free and we can sit and just be, I feel so relaxed. Feel like that puddle of jello as you lay back into your pillow. How often does that feel? How hard is it to get to sleep sometimes? How hard is it to get yourself to relax? How all these things? It's normal. It's happening. And let me rephrase that. It's not good normal. It's the normal that society is expecting us to do. So now we have to create and reset the set point. Create a new normal where you can breathe completely, and you always breathe deep breaths. That's going to get us through anxiety. And it's not fun, but I'll share everything that I've learned as I've gone through this to help other people get through it. And it's the most amazing gift if you can be free of anxiety, be free of your trauma, and start to move forward. So I love you all. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk more very soon. So watch for another video. I don't know, I'll call it maybe anxiety part 2 or anxiety healing, healing your way through. So loving yourself through. There's even better. Okay, I love you all. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.